Welcome to the All About Pigeons podcast, brought to you by the All About Pigeons nonprofit organization, which is dedicated to promoting education and promotion of the pigeon hobby. Every week, a listener requests to drive our conversations about all things pigeons. Join me, Philip Fry, as we learn and share stories about these incredible birds and this ancient hobby. Today we have with us Bob Nolan, lifelong pigeon fancier, author, master breeder, and judge, legend in the hobby. We're going to be talking about fundraising for your pigeon club. Bob is a member of the LAPC Pigeon Club, and they have a really successful auction that they do for their club that fundraises for them. They've been doing it since the 90s. So we're going to pick his brain a little bit because this is something that your club can do, whether it's a race club, roller club, tippler club. It's a good way to fundraise. So we're going to ask Bob some questions about that today and hopefully get some help for the other pigeon fanciers out there. So thanks for coming on and talking with us today, Bob.
My pleasure.
So how long has the LAPC been doing this auction?
Well, the LAPC had a financial situation around 1995 where they had slightly over $1,000 only in their treasury. And we were in need of new cages. We were in need of sawhorses and other show equipment that had been left to us by the Don Andrews estate in 1973. So you can see that all these show equipments were wearing out. And we had, like I said, only a little bit over $1,000 in our treasury. So one of our members suggested that we try a feed raffle and that we approach some of the local feed distributors and see if we couldn't get some donations and have a fundraiser on a pigeon feed raffle. Well, that idea flew pretty well. Somebody said, actually it was Lynn Watson, that we ought to maybe have an auction in connection with the feed raffle. And the auction in those days and raffle took place on a Thursday night, which was our regular meeting night. We found out was that you have to start out small and build up over the years. That first year, we brought in a very small amount. I believe off of the feed raffle was somewhere around $400 or $500. The auction brought in about the same. But considering that we had been running a raffle each month that brought in about $80, we were all elated to have that much success to start with. So I would suggest anybody that's going to plan to have a feed raffle or an auction, don't set your sights too high. As you progress over the years, you'll find it grows.
Just start off small and
don't get discouraged. If you don't have a big success right off the bat. It's like a lot of things where people get used to something happening at a certain time each year and they plan for it. That's what we've done with our super auction. It's been held in July for probably about the last 5 to 7 years. And people are aware of the location now. They're also aware of the tradition that we have. That's helped. And I think anybody that plans something similar should have the same goals.
Yeah, that's an important part too, right there, is having it reoccur. Kind of like when you do a pigeon show, a big pigeon show, you want it to have it on at least the same month every year. Right. So if you're doing your big fundraiser, to have that reoccur so that people kind of expect it and they're ready for it. And so you guys have been doing it in July now for, what'd you say, 5
or 7 years? Yeah, we used to have Thursday night at our meeting. But what we found out was that you can't do something of this scope in a 2 or 3 hours. It was also done at night. You know, people were getting tired and they wanted to go home, and we didn't get through all the items. So a guy named Chuck Zeller, who was on the board in those days, suggested that we go to a Saturday. And so now, by having it on Saturday, we don't have a rush situation. We have pretty much the whole day on Saturday. We start about 9 o'clock bringing items in, and we start the actual auction around 10:30. We have a nice lunch that's available around 12:30, and then we continue to about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and that includes breaks for our feed raffle as well.
How early do you guys start planning and taking action for this auction that occurs in July?
It does take some planning, and we start about 3 months in advance. We're still in the planning stages right now. What we've been doing the last 2 weeks, several of the members have been getting together, and we've been photographing the auction items that are going to be available in July. You need to plan ahead 2 to 3 months at least to get everything in place.
You send out a document that has all the items photographed, like a small description, and it's a live auction, right? At the event, are there silent auction items, or this is all one live auction?
Well, we accept bids. There's opening bids, and they can call in the day of the auction, or they can just tell us in advance what their top bid is going to be, and someone in the club will bid for them. If they get it, then they're responsible for getting payment to the treasurer of the club. And then upon payment, we have a person, Lynn Watson in this case, who is responsible for mailing the item to the person. They have a postage fee, of course, as well.
And how does your club go about sourcing all the different items that go into the auction?
Number one has been donations, oftentimes by relatives of fanciers who have passed away. Right now, we've got a wonderful display of figurines and paintings and things that came from the Stan Luden estate. And in fact, we'll probably have about 40 of those items on the auction this year. That's one source. Another source is we have a 50-50 split. If you've got some pigeon item at your home that you're interested in selling, we will take a 50-50 split and ask you to send us a photograph of it. We'll put it online. We also advertise it in our club bulletin. We have posters that are made up and are put at feed stores. So we use a lot of different methods, but maybe our most successful has been online. We've had people that purchase items from Germany, Australia, South Africa, Holland, France, all over the world. I think that's a very important thing, to reach out to customers' source that's spread out around the world, because there's very few places that have enough people that can attend the auction and make it successful.
You're putting it out for everybody to attend. And so you have members in your club that are willing to basically be like a proxy bidder. So if somebody wants to call in and connect with someone like that way, they can be a proxy bidder for certain items and throughout the auction.
That's a great question, and it's very important that you have a division of labor. This is a big project. Don't think one person, two people, or even three people can do it by themselves. It's too much. These are some of the things that go into it, and people take on these tasks. I just mentioned about Bill Griebel doing the photography on the items. That's one important thing, and making up the list of items. Bill does that, and then he presents that to Bob Bollinger in Pennsylvania, who has in the past, and hopefully will again this year, put it online for us. That's one thing. The next step, you have to have somebody that's willing to store all these items. We have as many as 100 items sometimes in our inventory. You've got to have somebody that's willing to store the items. Then you need someone who is a good auctioneer. We've been very fortunate in having John Hepner as an auctioneer. Your auctioneer can make or break the success of your event. John's very good at making it a humorous and enjoyable experience, and it sort of loosens the traffic up. Actually, a proxy for the bidding will provide that. If someone wants to contact me, my email address, robertbobnolan@gmail.com, or they can call me at 949-542-9799, and I can do the bidding for them. That takes a little bit of book work as well. Then the other thing that you need at the auction itself, a couple people at the front table that are recording the item, who bought it, and what the price was for it. And that can get kind of hectic at an auction because sometimes you can get backed up. Now, what we found out works the best for us is we have a couple special tables up front where we ask people to pick up their item that they're interested in bidding on and putting it at that table. So we know that the items at that table have a bidder. When we first started this thing, we just were bringing items up willy-nilly, so to speak. And a lot of times there were items that no one was interested in. So have a table where people have already made a bid on it, and that gets it started. The other item that you need is you need to have someone that's willing to provide a kitchen lunch so that people are not wanting to leave at 12 o'clock to go get some food. You need maybe if it's hot dogs or hamburgers or whatever, you need some refreshments there as well. When the auction and things is over, we ask the people to stay and help us load things up because it's quite a job. And then as important as any of those jobs is the person that's willing to mail the items to the people that purchase them from out of the area.
There's so much good stuff right there that you were mentioning, and that's all from experience, especially like the having food there so people don't leave for lunchtime. That's something that comes from experience of doing it. Having the table there to have people who have interest in the items, that's a great way to get people to automatically, get the bidding going right away. Because yeah,
Right.
you don't want to have an item that just sits up there and then kind of gets things stale. So those are really good tips to get action going. Because yeah, you don't want to quiet at an auction. You want activity, and that's how you get the prices up for the fundraiser.
Yeah, it kind of breaks the ice.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And a good auctioneer. And so John Hepner is your auctioneer. I didn't know that. I was going to ask if you guys hired a professional, but yeah, that's, you got to have that kind of charisma personality, like you say, bring levity to it and keep it humorous and flowing.
Yeah, there's quite a few good auctioneers around. We've been lucky over the years. Lonnie Medford has been our backup auctioneer when John runs out of breath for a while. Lonnie steps in and does a great job. We had Larry Deckard one time, and I think Dennis Soares did one time for us. So it is necessary to try to get the best person possible because he kind of sets the mood for the afternoon.
Have you noticed when it comes to promoting and then when it comes to advertising for your auction, between like social media, your guys' bulletin, putting up flyers, advertising in papers, has there been any of those medias that you get more driving traffic from, or what's the best way that you found for promoting and bringing people into it?
Well, I think we've had mixed success with both social media online, especially on the large items that are more expensive. The people that come to the auction themselves, they oftentimes go home with more of the smaller items. Maybe the more high-priced items are the ones that seem to go overseas because they're postage costs, and it's got to be something pretty nice for the people to be willing to pay the postage to Holland or South Africa or something as well. You need to tap both groups, the out of the area people and the local.
I mean, that's incredible. You guys are sending items internationally too. So, and I mean, because yeah, it all falls onto whoever purchases the item for the shipping anyway. But you're really reaching literally a worldwide audience with that. So this auction is opened up to literally anybody who would want to participate in it. Then,
Yeah, it is, and it's really helpful for people that are in isolated places. Where do they go to get a painting by Jacob Rivolsky? Or where do they go to get a figurine by Marlene Browser? They can't do that backwoods locations. So we're providing a service where they can get items that they can't get at their local Walmart.
yeah, absolutely. And so, how do you go about handling the payments once the auction's over? Let's say somebody has won an item.
We have a couple people that have PayPal accounts. I believe Drew Lobenstein and Bill Griebel have handled PayPal accounts. That the way we handle the out of the area people is through PayPal.
Every year, you want the auction to be more successful, as a fundraiser. I mean, the goal of this is to fundraise for your local club. Is there any other ways that you could say you evaluate the auction at the end of the year? I mean, smoothness of operation or items donated, stuff like this.
Well, years ago, when the Pigeon of Pigeons had 4,000 and 5,000 birds, we would make operating money off of the entry fee. But the show now is about 2,000 birds, and we're struggling to break even. So it's important to have the super auction. And then we decided that there were other ways to make money for the club so that we could afford to pay $7,000 or $8,000 in rent money for our buildings for the pageant of pigeons. I'm going to list a couple of the other things that we do that bring in funds during the course of the year. In September, we have a young bird show. And that young bird show usually draws about 200 to 300 birds, somewhere in that vicinity. We have a feed raffle that goes along with the entry fee, $3 a bird, I believe it is. And then we also provide a lunch. So we make maybe $1,000 or something off of that young bird show. Then we put out what's called a Pageant of Pigeons Mark Catalog, which is probably the most elaborate one anywhere in the world. It has all the show results in it. It has over 100 photographs of winning birds, and we have ads that we sell in that catalog, and then of course we sell the catalog as well. I don't know if that would be something that a small club could pull off, but that helps us in addition to the super auction. Then we also have feed raffles at the Pageant of Pigeons and at the Young Bird Show. And those feed raffles are funded basically by donations from the Leach Feed Company and the Volkman's Seed Factory, Kenny Davis's Pomona Feed. All of those have made donations for our feed raffle, and that's another way to make money for your club. If you're ambitious, you could go the route that we've done the last 2 or 3 years and have a club calendar. We have a beautiful calendar that we sell a page to. and then we take ads for the calendar, and then we sell the calendar. That's another way to add to our treasury. So those are some of the things that work for us: a calendar, a Young Bird show, a feed raffle, a marked catalog sale, and the super auction. And if you make a little bit off of each one, by the time you're through, you got enough to pay your expenses for the rent for the show, even if you don't have enough entries to handle it straight off.
The Pageant of Pigeons is a very well-known show. It's definitely one of the greater shows out there to see. And just to get a scope, when we talk about size of clubs, roughly how many members belong to the Los Angeles Pigeon Club?
We've got around 120 members, I believe.
Okay.
Unfortunately, they're not all in the Los Angeles area. We put out a very, very nice bi-monthly bulletin. Josh Zellis up in Utah does that for us. And so we have quite a number of people that pay their membership with their pageant entry fee just to get the bulletin.
Oh, okay.
Very a nice bulletin. Have you seen that bulletin?
No, I have not seen that one. I might have to be a member just to get that bulletin now too, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, the membership is, fluctuated like all clubs, up and down. It's always a battle collecting dues at the start of the year, and by the end of the year, you're back to where you were the year before.
Right.
If we can hold it around 100 members or 120, we're happy.
Are there any other tips that you'd like to share with club members that are looking to fundraise, whether it be with, an auction or, some of the things that you spoke about?
The one thing that we found that makes the auction more successful is providing the 50-50 option, because then you're going to have people that are going to donate things that they're going to get a little money back for. So the quality of the items has gone up when we allowed the 50-50 split. And there's some people that are just completely generous and they say, no, I don't need that. Just keep the whole thing. So I would say we probably have more donations than we do 50-50, but I think it's a wise option to have a 50-50. Now, in the earlier years, we used to include birds in the auction. And for some clubs, that might work out well. For us, it didn't, and we discontinued it because sometimes, a guy like Dennis Wyrick would put a really great pair of Modinas up in the auction, and there wasn't anybody there on the spot that wanted to raise Modinas, and the birds brought $25, and he got discouraged. So we haven't done much with the live bird aspect of it, but if you remember the NPA National, they have a junior auction that is extremely successful.
Right. Yeah.
So that's something to think about as well. And then also, you don't mail any item out until it's paid for.
Yep.
Those are things that keep you from getting into hassles with people. Just good business practices.
Have you guys ever done like live stream when you do the auction for bidding that way?
No, we haven't. Are you interested in doing that? We're always looking for help. One fellow that's been very helpful over the years, of course, has been Bob Bollinger with the preparation of the distribution of our inventory, so to speak, the pictures and getting that out there. Cam DeTangan in Hawaii has been another one who has put a lot of items online, pictures and things for us about the auction in general, not specific pieces, but letting people know that it's coming. And we're about ready to gear up for that. We're going to start passing out flyers at Jed's Feed Store. Once a month, they have a get together where people can bring their birds to buy, sell, and trade. We pass out flyers at that location at that time, get people thinking about it.
I picked up some really great items from the show last year, and I got a couple behind me right now. I got that, that really nice print and a couple other really nice collectible stuff. And it was real seamless, real painless, very easy. Appreciate you guys doing that. I'm looking forward to throwing a bit or two in on some items this year. If anybody else is interested, like Bob said, you can email him.
Bob Nolan at gmail.com.
There you go. And you can call you too, right?
That's right. Or telephone me at 949-542-9799. And we're hoping to have the list of new items, which may be close to 100 items this year, available within the next about 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. That's our goal.
Yeah, once that list gets out, we'll definitely be sharing that around on our social media as well, and definitely be promoting this. It's going to be a great auction again this year. So, Bob, thanks so much for coming on. I hope this gave a lot of different people in the club some ideas for fundraising for your own club and participate in this auction and, see what you can find.
I'm an old retired coach, and one of the sayings that we used to have was that you don't come up with anything new, you just steal from one another. And that's a good example here. We've done some things that work. Feel free to steal our ideas and use them.
That's right. But you don't got to reinvent the wheel. It's already here. Excellent. Thank you, Bob.
Take care.
Thanks for tuning in to another listener-requested episode of the All About Pigeons podcast. We truly appreciate your support. The soundtrack for the show comes from the Pigeon musician Vitel Mizrahi. If you have a topic or a guest you'd like to hear more about in future episodes, or if you yourself would like to be a guest and just talk pigeons, please don't hesitate to reach out to us through email at allaboutpigeonspodcast@gmail.com or join our Facebook page, All About Pigeons Podcast, and connect with us there. Don't forget to leave a 5-star review wherever you listen. It supports the pigeon hobby and really helps the show. Remember, together the hobby thrives, support each other, and enjoy your pigeons.